Alright, everybody. So, when I'm talking about compromises that the factory would have made, what I'm talking about is to make it more appealing to the general motoring public because they're out to make money, right? These manufacturers, that's why they're selling this stuff. It's not goodness of their heart. They're trying to make a profit. So the more people they can appeal to, the better, right? So things, they want the vehicle to be cheaper so more people will buy it. They want they know that most people are going to want to use regular gas. They aren't going to want premium. They're going to want to use the cheaper fuel. They want more miles per gallon. They want to ride really, really nice. They want it to be really quiet inside and in a lot of cases outside. And they want more tech to be available and inside it because, again, that's what sells. Um, as far as I go, uh, basically what my needs are, it's got to handle reasonably well because where I live, uh, there's a lot of windy, twisty roads. Um, it's got to be comfortable for highway cruising because I go and visit my family. 3.5 hour drive one way fairly frequently. Um, it's gotta have good power in low to mid range areas because, like I've said before, I tow with this. I haul stuff in the bed with this, and it's a big, heavy truck. And I need to be able to get up and go when I want it to, right? Like merging onto highways, things like that. It's no good if the thing's a dog, as the expression goes. And it is a daily driver, so it needs to get reasonable fuel economy. Um, it's got to have reasonable off-road manners, like nothing crazy, no rock crawling or anything, but I've got to be able to get through, rough back roads. I've got to be able to go down service roads for my job. I've got to be able to, go through hay fields and horse fields and so it needs to be able to go to those places. And well, yeah, I'm a car guy. There's a reason why I got the night edition. It looks cool. I want it to be cool and stay cool, at least in my eyes. So, with that said, we're going to use this as an example of how to evaluate your vehicle. Obviously, this is tailored more for a daily driver, but you can take the same idea and put it towards, project cars, fun cars, as to evaluating what you need to change for a vehicle to meet your needs. So, the 5 areas that we're going to look at that you can sort of take out the factory compromises or at least tailor them to your needs and wants would be first is your intake, then you've got your exhaust, there's tune, your suspension system, and one that gets kind of overlooked really is your wheels and your tires. So, with that said, let's start looking at these 5 areas. Okay, so let's start with intake and exhaust. We're kind of going to do them together because, in essence, it's the same thing. You're trying to get uh, the highest speed flow going with the least restriction or back pressure possible. Ideally, you want zero back pressure with crazy amounts of speed of the air or the exhaust gases um, flowing through the system. So with this, obviously, it's air going through the intake system. So perfect on this. It's nice, smooth flowing. Other than this accordion tubes, the only sort of where it might make some turbulence. Um, if you come over to the air box, it's actually a cold air system. It's completely closed off from engine bay heat. Um, it goes into a nice little snorkel here, which feeds directly into the intake or into the fender well. And there's no big, heavy resonation chambers, which may cause a restriction. That's again the resonation chambers on most vehicles in their intake systems to keep it quiet because people don't want to hear the hum and the rasp and the howl of an intake usually. So um, on this vehicle, on this Ram, it's actually a really nice setup. It's really got not it's got hardly any restrictions. Really, the only place where you're actually going to see any gains if you were to change anything out for power, like I said, I want more mid-range and low-end grunt and fuel economy would be changing out this tube. So really, that's pretty low on my list of to-dos. As far as the exhaust goes, I know for a fact that my exhaust manifolds, we can kind of see them in there. That little bit of silver is the heat shield. It's basically a pipe with 4 holes cut in it. It's nothing to write home about. It doesn't have nice flow to it. It doesn't have any graceful curves, as it were. That's what you want, is stuff that's going to actually allow you to have this flow very efficiently and very quickly. So technically, a set of headers would really do well. Now, I was talking about off-road capability. Well, I have to take into consideration, if I am going to do headers, long tubes are going to hang down kind of low. You know, yes, I have a bunch of clearance right now, but if they hang down any lower than that stock pipe there, well, I don't know. Is it worth it, or should I go with shorties? Because I'm not worried about going a million miles an hour. I just want to have a little bit of fun on the road. It's supposed to be a fast street truck sort of thing, not a world record setter or anything at the quarter mile. The other thing is, looking down through the exhaust, is that Y pipe. If you actually start looking at it, you can kind of see it's got kinks in it. That is not mandrel bent. So that means that that's making the pipe in those little sections, those little kinks, smaller and impeding flow, which is not what you want. So technically that pipe should be changed out. Now the good thing about this factory exhaust is it is all stainless. So don't go for aluminized or mild steel or anything. You want at least a 400 series stainless. 300 would be better, but 400 will still give you lots and lots of life for a daily driver. By the by, if anybody tries to tell you need high flow cats, technically you don't. High flow cats are for like 450 plus horsepower. If you're not making that at the wheels, really, those cats are not a restriction. Now let's keep going down the way on the exhaust. And what you'll see is, after that Y pipe, it's just a nice straight pipe. It's all stainless steel. That's great. There's where the factory muffler was. That's the aftermarket straight through one, the Solo Performance. So I've already corrected that problem, because the factory one is just nothing but baffles and chambers and restrictive as all get out, and the size of a water heater. So, But right after that, again, we get into factory piping, which I'm not touching, because if you look, factory pipes are actually all, it's very nice mandrel bent stuff. There's not really any kinks in it, and it's all stainless. And these resonators are straight through. They flow like straight pipe, and it looks good. It fits into the cutouts in the bumper. Why would I change it? Why spend extra money when I really don't need to, right? So yeah, that's kind of what to look for with the exhaust. Is what you're gonna, and the intake, is that you're gonna be looking for something that has a lot of really good solid curves, no kinks in it. You don't want 90-degree bends. You don't want anything crazy like that. Again, just like this, you want smooth. And the big thing is, bigger isn't always better. You have to keep that speed up, which means you need to have the piping size for the power that the engine's putting out. If you're just going mild, stock sizing is probably about right. But again, do your research and you'll be fine. So next up's a tune. Well, nothing really I can show you with a tune. A tune, it's all computer programming, right? The big thing to look for with a tune is, are you using the vehicle for what it was originally intended for? Okay? If, for instance, this truck, right? Yeah, I'm going to be towing with it, and that's, so a lot of parameters are probably about right. be hauling with it, daily driving it. It's pretty much spot on what it was made for, right? But the thing is, I don't mind running a slightly higher octane. They compromised at the factory going, well, most people are going to want to run regular, so they made it so that that truck can run on regular just fine. But I don't mind running 91, 93, 100 octane. Obviously, that's pushing it with 100 and even 93, but if I don't mind running a 91 octane, you can advance the spark timing, the cam timing, and you can get more out of the engine. And there's 20 to 30 horsepower just sitting there waiting to be used. But again, they had to compromise so that it appeals to the broader public. Makes sense, right? It's the same thing with the throttle response, etc. Right? Well, they know that you're gonna let your child drive your daily driver, your vehicle when they get their license, right? Well, there's usually a little bit of a lag programmed in so that if you tromp on it, it kind of goes, okay, did you mean to do that? And then it eases in a little bit as opposed to being completely savage like what a old cable operated throttle was. So you can tune it so that it's instantaneous. When you hit the gas, it pops throttle. So you can tune that into it. Same deal, it's got all kinds of technology with variable intake runners. You can tune it to optimize what's there for what you need out of your vehicle as opposed to what the broader public is thought to have needed. Now, that being said, it's expensive. Um, don't don't do the little eBay chip thing. That's all fake. That's a cash grab right there. They don't do anything. Pedal commanders and that, again, they'll give you the illusion of it doing something, but it's not actually giving you any more power or anything like that. The big thing is, it's a big investment, it's very expensive, and you need to go to somebody who knows what they're doing to get it done. Just because you can mess up your vehicle very badly if you just start plugging in values and thinking bigger is better and more is better, and you can't do that. You have to program it right. Um, but that being said, if it's done right and if it's done uh, with the proper tools, the amount of power and change in the way that the vehicle will feel is absolutely astronomical. So that's definitely one on the list too. Alright, so next up on a very, very dirty vehicle is wheels and tires. Um, so you really have to tailor uh, what you put on it for what you're going to be doing the majority of the time. Um, these KO2s, they don't perform as well off-road as Duratrax tend to, from my experience and what I've seen with others. But that said, they are so much quieter and have so much better road manners that it's one of those things where, well, this is a daily driver that for the most part, sees pavement and the odd gravel road. Um, these things make tons of sense given the fact that I know I'm going to need to go off-road every once in a while, but I need good road manners. It's a great compromise of the two. That said, they are E-rated. They're very heavy. They're meant for being able to tow, and the sidewalls are thicker to be able to hold that pressure, so it's also good for, because of the thicker sidewalls, for off-road, so you don't get cut up by rocks and stuff. The trade-off is my fuel economy suffered a little because now there's a whole bunch more weight that the truck has to work to get rotating from a dead stop. So there's that to consider. Um, you also have to think about the actual sizing of the tire. Are you going to be doing a lot of corner carving or, uh, drag racing or things like that? Well, a wider tire, that's going to get more power to the ground. It's going to let you hook a lot better. But the problem is, guess what? Again, now you've got more rubber on the road. That's more resistance. You have to work harder to get it going. So it's going to possibly either feel sluggish if you don't have enough power, or it's going to kill some more fuel economy off. So you really have to think, what do I want to do and how big a tire do I want to run or can I run? It's, again, you have to do your research and really look into it. to see what compromises work best for you and what things to think about that way. As far as the wheels go, again, big, heavy wheels, they're going to suck out a bunch of power and it's going to nuke some fuel economy. So it's, well, what do you want? How do you want that wheel to feel when you're turning it? Because even in the steering wheel, you're going to feel big, heavy wheels compared to, light, sporty ones. There's a reason why you don't see many serious drag vehicles running giant 20-inch rims with, 34-inch tall tires. That's what those are. They're one step up from factory size because I wanted that half an inch extra ground clearance. So I went with 34s instead of the stock 33s. So you got to think about it. What makes sense for you? Alright, and our final thing is suspension. Um, well, you've got a million and one different options this way, and it really, really comes down to what do you want and what matters for you. This vehicle, like I said, its ground clearance is probably okay for what I need, and I don't like the back being up this high. I am all of 5'5", so raising the vehicle anymore really doesn't make sense to me. It's tough enough as is for me to clean it, so I'm probably going to end up dropping the back to level it. Just make it easier to get in and out of the bed, and I like the look. All the better. If I drop the back of this, like I'm sort of thinking I might, well, that shock's going to be, or that spring's going to be pretty soft, which means when I do load it up, it's going to squat even easier than it already does now. So I'm going to need something, whether that be an active bump stop to replace this one right here, so that it helps take the load when the suspension is compressed, or if it's something to go inside there, like a helper airbag to stiffen up the spring rate so that it doesn't collapse as easy. I'm going to need to do something to sort of help out that spring because it's going to be too soft for what I use it for. So again, you have to think, what are you using your vehicle for? Shocks and springs are not the only part of the suspension though. What about these sway bars? The front is massive. Back here, not so much. If I was gonna be doing, serious corner carving, drop this thing way down, do autocross, things like that, I might look into trying to upgrade that rear sway bar if possible. Maybe even the front one. But as is, for what I use it for, it's probably good. It's probably adequate. And that's the big thing is again, the whole point of this video is basically to drive home. It's what are you going to use it for? Is the power that the bolt-ons that you're looking at and reading about online and forums and stuff, do they make power where you use your vehicle in the RPM range? Is the handling and the type of suspension you're going to put on, yeah, it looks cool, but is it going to do what you need it to do to function best for you? And like I said, that's pretty much the whole point of this video. Obviously, it's focused towards a daily driver, and I'm using my daily driver as an example of where to look for things. But you could easily apply to a project car, as in, what do you want this project to be? Do you want it to be something that you go to the drag strip? Well, what you do to build a car to go to the drag strip is not what you do to build a car to cruise the highway, is not what you do to build a car to do autocross, is not what you do to build a car to, do land speed records. Like, you have to have a plan as to what you want the vehicle to do. So, hopefully you found this video helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, and if you have any questions about anything, let me know, and we'll go over it in the comments below there. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later.